then the Article 6, Section D, the teaching assignment, the non-classroom coverage, we have another counter to offer.
A counter to the
Pages, 'cause
counter
it's
to the
now locked
counter.
over on to two.
Did we get purple ink out yet, Rosemary?
So I can only print out of my office. I can't
Oh,
print.
so we got shades of gray?
I can't print anywhere else except for that printer in my office. I'm waiting for somebody to come and hook up the main.
I'm gonna find somebody, I know somebody, you know.
So we basically added back in the exceptional student education service providers, because those are the providers mainly that are, have hours of requirements for services to provide to students that we're trying to really protect when it comes to non-classroom coverage.
So I would disagree with that assessment because I believe we're trying to protect school counselors, I believe we're trying to protect social workers, I believe we're trying to protect media specialists. So if we do this, then those folks can be on duty for all day.
Well, that's the bottom of that says that we'll not allow that to happen, right?
I still think it would be helpful, we try to list out the positions that we felt might need to be on duty for longer than 60 minutes a day. I don't know why we're just not listing those positions.
Part of the reason why we brought this language was because social workers and school counselors were being used to guard bathrooms last year, which is not what they need to be doing in their position, so.
Yeah, just reiterate. That's why we agreed to that bottom line that the school district and union shall collaboratively review the distribution of supervised duties for all members of the bargaining unit on a regular basis to ensure that duties are fairly allocated and to address any concerns that may arise. So if that happens again, where your people are guarding bathrooms for 3 hours, I would consider that as an issue that arises.
Yeah, but there's no, I may say it's an issue, but there's nothing protecting those teachers from not doing that all day long. It's too easy for the district to wiggle its way out of and not honor that commitment.
And I understand what you're saying, but I also understand that, you know, if we start listing out positions, that we're going to hamstring some of our schools when it's an immediate urgency.
But you understand we're hamstringing the ability of those employees to get their jobs done because they're babysitting rather than doing their jobs.
And again, I hear you, but I think that, you know, with the last sentence in there, that we could, you know, address these issues as they arise.
Not saying this works. Not saying this works. However, is there any other positions you would be willing to add to the top line other than just ESE providers?
I think I would defer to Mira as a principal in a school. I mean, I have your opinion.
Because obviously I'm not just speaking for me, but I know that many different schools have varying needs. So I would say no, because honestly, the schools, small schools have very specific needs. My school also being a smaller school, so I would have a hard time. This is difficult for me. What you guys have proposed would be very difficult for me. And if I were to implement that, then I would have to have more teachers doing supervisory duty. And they would not be happy about that. But I have to ensure the safety and security of my kids priority one.
Are there any other positions at your school that are being used for more than 60 minutes a day?
Yes.
What are they?
Guidance counselor, GSP, literacy coach. And I'm sure probably something I'm missing. But not social worker, not SLP.
Well, thank you for that. Even though we don't agree with.
I know.
Thank you.
But someone's gotta watch the kids.
No, I-
don't agree either. If we had more positions,
I mean-
then that'd be lovely.
I'm just.
I would say not the person making $40 an hour and it's a professional was watching the kids, but
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I mean, are you aware of that in our contract? It says to, consider non-bargaining, 10-10, et cetera, for supervisory duties?
Right, but sometimes those people aren't there at that time.
Okay.
So-
I mean, is that common knowledge amongst principals? Okay.
Yes. I mean, it's for me, I can't speak for all.
We're asking you to speak for all of them, so.
I'm so glad I'm the only principal here.
But I think that, if issues arise again and, maybe we have new principals or somebody that's not utilizing those 10-10 positions or non-bargaining, that we can address those matters and work to correct it.
I think part of the problem, and of course this is a 10-10 issue, but I think sometimes, like Ms. Ryan said, they're not on campus yet because they're not, and I think that's been something that administrators have been asking for years, and also, especially our ESA teachers, to have their IAs for longer to help with supervision, before school, after school, all of that, so that's also something to consider.
Mara, do you
My-
have? I'm
sorry,
yeah.
I have to go back and I get that supervising kids is important, but, when we're using adults that should be seeing children, like our social workers for things, and I know, you said we could bring it to you, but our experiences in the past with this type of language is it doesn't give us any recourse if you guys disagree with us, right? So that's what contract language does, is if it's black and white in the language, there's a process for that, it's the grievance process. So if a social worker is being used to make sure the bathroom sinks aren't being torn off the wall for whatever new challenge kids saw on TikTok, they're not seeing kids that might need that mental and emotional support. And so we would like to stop issues before they happen rather than having to address them because we find out about them. Because a lot of times some of our our members of the bargaining unit are scared to call us because they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to be seen as not a team player. They don't want to be seen as somebody that is going against what their administration is asking them to do. So sometimes we don't even hear all of the stories that are happening to even address them to begin with. But if it's black and white in the contract, then management knows and our instructional staff knows, and there's really no question about it. I just feel like language like this at the end opens up the door to a principal saying to their team, you called the union on me.
Is
and
it-
then their life getting worse after that.
Sorry, Vanessa. Is
No,
it
sorry.
standard for you to post a schedule already, though? Do you already make a schedule for,
For a supervisor, yes.
and all your teachers see
I
it?
give it to him during frequent.
Okay. And you don't find that to be too burdensome, do you?
No.
And we'll talk about it.
Okay. And
There's
then,
also a couple of typos in it, that's
sorry.
that's why we can't accept it.
I almost texted you to email me so I could, instead of cutting and pasting.
Don't worry, don't hold me to that same standard.
So I don't have anything prepared or written, but I can speak to this, that your proposal for the SLPs, BCBAs, OTPTs, we are prepared to offer and keep $1,000 coming out of the general fund, as we have before, and then $3,500 total out of the supplemental funds. I know that you have requested that it come out of the retention millage. However, these are approximately 190 to 208 employees, and the retention fund, we're trying to keep 8,000 employees. So we can up to a total of $4,500 out of.
That's some wordsmithing right there. So are you saying you're prepared to offer bonuses to our employees from the retention fund? I was not aware of that. That's interesting.
No, I said that we're offering out of the supplemental.
No, you said you had to use the 8,000, there's 8,000 employees that you were also worried about.
I don't know what's being offered out of the retention when it comes to millage. I just know that millage, the retention is for the entire district.
Well, shouldn't it be for the positions that we're having the hardest time filling?
Well, I know that we have,
We have 150 SLPs and we have 140 filled.
Right now.
yeah, we have
You
140.
wanna ask-
And we just increased it from $275 to $4,500.
No, because you're making an assumption, first of all, that the supplement that people have worked really hard on for like 6 months now can swallow that big of an increase and take away from, if you want to go tell Mr. Susan that it's going to be less for football coaches, then you can have that conversation with him. I'm not having that conversation with him. Or, I mean, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul when there's another bucket to deal with these shortages, and they're going to get worse. Let me give you an example. You're missing 50% of your workforce with behavioral analysts if you want to start. There's 16, now there's 8. So, and OTPTs, missing probably 25% of them as well. So we're gonna get to the point where we're just passing back and forth the same proposals?
No, that's our final one.
Okay. Best and final?
That's the final.
All right, so was that everything you guys had for us?
Yeah,
I think that's all we have.
yeah,
then.
that's all we had.
All right, so first of all, on the calculator, one thing, if you make one adjustment, where we have greater than 0 years, we'd like to not include our first year teachers in there at all, or at least have the option of looking at it that way, because this is really the raise for last year. So we'd like to look at that. With that said, we played with this different ways, and every which way we played with it was not enough money. I mean, you guys know what the other districts are getting, more like at least 5% increases, and we're looking at like a 2% increase from BPS. So we're asking for, on top of the amount you had offered, additional funds of $619,000. We're asking for an additional $3 million on top of that, and then we can try to make it work. And that's still pretty tight on our end. So we're looking for an additional $3 million, and then we would.
Okay. we would have to change this next proposal because of the 0 years, which we can do. But it's an offer of
That's my,
2.25 increase with tiered and performance increases. Now, that can be worked anyway again, just like the last sheet was.
all right, anybody have any questions? All right, I think we're ready to caucus again.
Let me see.